Hi, everybody. Welcome to Immigration Talk, episode 21. Right now, it's April 14th, 2022. I'm here with my associate, Anna Sergeeva, here to talk about some updates and news and fun stuff regarding immigration. How are you doing, Anya?
I'm okay. I'm a bit sick, so I'm gonna have a funny voice today.
But you got some good news about I-751's removal conditions and some interesting stats we're going to talk about for student visas, people coming here to study in the United States. It's really interesting stuff, so I thought we'd share that. Obviously, the immigration system has a lot of updates. Our last episode went through a lot of changes with regard to timelines, so check out Immigration Talk episode 20. And if you want to reach out to Anya, just email her at Anya, A-N-N-A, Anna, at jqqlaw.com, and I'm info@jqqlaw.com. If you haven't already, like and subscribe so you get updates, ring that bell so you get notifications. We put a lot of informational, practical kind of information out there that's helpful. None of the hype, just really stuff that's helpful. So let's start. USCIS implemented some changes with regards to removal of conditions. Now, for those who don't know what removal of conditions is, there's an EB-5 investor version of it. We're not getting into that, but for marriage cases, if your marriage is new, it's less than 2 years old when the green card is issued, the green card is only going to be valid for 2 years because they want to check again to make sure your relationship was legitimate. It wasn't a fake relationship. So it's a big hassle to go through, but you got to do it. And when Trump especially was here, they were pushing it so that everyone does an interview at this stage again, even though they had already done an interview. But USCIS is pulling that back because the timelines for I-751s being approved was backed up to like 2 years. And so it's taking forever. Having interviews just made it worse. They've updated the guidance. I think they're trying to get these cases done because they're taking too long. Could you talk about what the release policy release by USCIS was?
Yes, so for any of you guys who's watching and who has your I-751 applications pending or you're about to submit it, this is a very good news because looks like the USCIS is trying to decrease timelines significantly for this specific application. So this is the logic behind it, why they are doing it at all, because obviously they don't have enough resources, enough
Yeah.
staff, you know. And I-751s, they never been a priority for USCIS. That's why now, as you mentioned, John, right, adjudicating like timeline can easily reach like 2+ years,
Mhm.
and yeah. So what they want to do now, they want to do basically they're I would say expanding the interview waiver requirements for I-751s. So in 2008, there was this memo issued by USCIS saying that basically we're gonna interview almost all cases, I-75 cases. It's not exactly what it says there, but basically that's what it was.
Mhm.
So now they're saying that only if there is no indication of fraud or misrepresentation in your case, then it qualifies for interview waiver. Okay, if there's sufficient evidence in the file that the marriage is real. So as long as you don't file bare bones I-751, you know. But again, every case is different. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to say that, and we keep saying that. So every case is different. Um, um, Even the waiver cases will qualify for interview waiver,
Wow.
which is like joint waiver. I'm talking about waiver of joint filing.
And normally,
If
like you file with your spouse, but if you're divorced and you file individually, usually they'll do an interview for that because they're more suspicious, but they're willing to waive that as well.
yeah, they have this discretion to waive that too, and they also say if there are no complex facts or issues that require an interview to resolve. For example, if there are some inconsistencies on previous applications, if there is nothing like that, so potentially the case qualifies for interview I-751 interview waiver. And conditional permanent resident does not have a criminal history that would make him or her removable from the United States.
Mhm.
So basically we can bring it to a couple of things. If there is no fraud, if there is no misrepresentation, and if there is no criminal history, potentially case I-751 removal of condition case, they may not be called for an interview.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the great news of this is just shows the administration is pushing getting these done because this is one of the most frustrating parts I've seen people have. Now, if you've been married to a U.S. citizen, we have the policy for the most part to file for naturalization, at the 2 years and 9 month mark, essentially 90 days for 3 years, even if the I-751 is pending, because that pushes the case forward. I mean, your own personal case, you've been through the hell of the I-751 if you want to get into that, so you know how that is. But this is all positive. Things are going faster. Now every case is different. Sometimes they say stuff, they don't do it. But in general, USCIS's internal policies and the public face that they're doing, it seems like they're speeding everything up. Just seeing what's going on with the work permits for those adjusting status and applying for EADs, the C9 category. One of our colleagues got one done in 4 weeks. 4 weeks after filing, they got a work permit. That's incredible. Now, advanced parole is just not happening anymore, essentially. That sucks, but at least getting the work permit and a social security number is a big plus. So I'm so glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's amazing news, and as I said at the very beginning, right, that we expect for the timelines to decrease significantly for I-751s. Okay, and as we see with other applications, it may not happen rapidly. For example, people who file now after this new policy guidance is already here, they may see their cases being adjudicated very fast, while other people may still be waiting like 2+ years if they filed back then, like 2 or a year and a half ago, for example.
It's a weird thing that when they change a policy, they start doing it as to the cases that happen from that policy change afterwards, and the old ones are still stuck in the old line, which doesn't seem fair. You get those clients, especially, very frustrated. They're like, my friend called, he just filed it, he got his work permit. I'm like, I know. USCIS is not fair sometimes like that. I don't know why they don't go back and take care of the backlog. We see that asylum cases as well. There are asylum cases pending for 7, 8 years, or 6 to 7 years, or something like that. And then someone files their asylum today and they get the interview 6 weeks later. It just doesn't make sense. It's just the way it is. But it's still helpful to some people.
Yeah, exactly. So one more thing too, it doesn't say here, but I saw it somewhere too. If the case involves any national security concerns, too, they will not waive an interview.
Sure.
Yeah. You have to be mindful of that, but no one knows. It's all like their records, and even when we get the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act responses, a lot of times what we see is just like blank pages, because they take everything out under like a saying that we cannot disclose this because this is like security ground or something like that. So we will see how it's gonna work. Hopefully they will implement it really fast, and we will see new cases coming. We will see how fast it's gonna be. Maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year. Well, anything is better than 2 years that we are seeing right now. But I, like me personally, I think it should be, if there is no interview, it should be really, really fast, and it should be adjudicated somewhere at the national benefits level, not even be like sent to the local office.
Yeah, we have some cases that are so strong, and then it takes 2 years. Like, how much more documents you need? They have like a kid together, they own property together. It's like, how much more documents you need? They still come back with an RFE. And so it's such a weird process, I-751. As you said, it's not recognized as a priority. Like, the marriage case itself is a priority, citizenship is a priority according to internal policies, but I-751s have not been a priority, even though it's just as important, and it's just as, like, we have couples, and this is what really disturbed me of the Ombudsman's report from last year, which I read. We're going to do a podcast on it for our other program we have. But there's so many couples usually it's women, not always, but women stay in a relationship because they're afraid of getting divorced, even if they're in an abusive relationship, because they want to make sure they get the I-751 approved, and they're afraid if they leave, potentially they'll lose their green card, and then they'll be destitute. And that green card aspect forces them to remain in an extremely abusive relationship. I've seen it before several times. And so it's not right for them to not put a priority on I-751, because it puts these people in a very difficult position that takes so long and keeping them in this bad relationship. So it's just not fair. Something that really has to be, pursued.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And of course, it's not the way it's supposed to be, and if you find yourself in this situation, law really protects,
you have options.
Yeah, you have options. So there is nothing worse staying in this kind of relationship, nothing worse. For example, again, going back to I-751, there is a waiver of joint filing requirements, and actually this one of the reasons that we can use by requesting a waiver. and when person files on her own or on his own, because both men and women qualify
Yeah.
for the waiver. Yeah.
And, US sometimes, people in this kind of situation don't have evidence. They don't call the police. It's still possible to have the case approved solely based on your testimony. Saying, they hit me, I didn't take photos, no bruises. But if you just got to be detailed, you got to be open to talk about a horrible situation, even if there's no police report. Obviously, it's better if there's a police report. Obviously, it's better if there's evidence and text messages and emails showing the abusive language coming from them. But at the end of the day, it's doable that these get approved. So I've told these clients, get out of that relationship. It's better because honestly, sometimes these relationships lead to death or horrible situations. So it's like better you have your life and your health, and we'll figure out the green card stuff. It is doable. The U.S. has set out, rules for this kind of stuff.
Exactly. So, and one thing I forgot to mention, sorry guys, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a bit sick. So they were saying that anyone who obtained their green cards through consular processing, they had to have this I-75 interview. So now it would not matter, even if you got your green card through the consular processing, going through the embassy, rather than doing an adjustment of status, it would not matter at all.
Yeah, wonderful. I didn't even catch that because the previous guidance that they gave said that they'll waive interviews for people that did adjustment status because the couple were there together, but not consular processing because only the foreign person was that interview. But they're even waiving those. That's incredible. So that's really good. I mean, these people are eventually going to probably have a citizenship interview. They can talk with them again if they want to, but this system is just way too backed up.
There's no way for a waiver for a citizenship interview, but general policy is that, of course, USCIS wants to see a person, wants to interview them, wants to make sure everything is right, was done properly, like consular processing, adjustment of status, so yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, thank you. That was a good topic to talk about. We're going to move on right now and talk about student visas. There's a report by the people who manage the program, SEVP and CVIS, and those who have student visas in particular know these acronyms and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, it's ICE that oversees it. But about what's going on with the student visa numbers. So obviously, the student visa holders, and this could include F1 students, which is primarily it, but there's an M1 category, people going to vocational school. There's J1 cultural exchange students. Most of the statistics we're going to provide are just focused on F1s, and we'll highlight if it's wider than that in a case or two. But COVID-19 had an impact on the student visa numbers in the United States that are noticeable. Now, if you look at a 10-year span, the student visa numbers are astronomical, rapidly rising than what they were. But there's been a huge decrease than what they were only a few years ago. So the pandemic continued to have an impact on international student enrollment in the U.S. in 2021. The total number of CVIS records for active F1 and M1 students, not J1s, was 1.2 million, 1.23 million in calendar year 2021. It's a decrease of 1.2% from calendar year 2020. So 1%, almost a little more than 1% decrease from the year before. But Anya was really smart. She went and looked up the 2019 numbers and said, actually, 2019, they had 1.52 million students. Now it's 1.2. So it was actually like a 300,000 decrease than the year before. So it was a much wider drop than it was before. And so even, from the COVID, the last 2 years had a big effect on the numbers. Now, interestingly, there's 4 schools, a total of 4 SVB certified schools that enrolled more than 15,000 international students, unchanged from 2020. So there's 4 major schools that are doing this. We're going to go through those schools, but it's really interesting to see the dynamics and the analytics of who is coming, who isn't, and where they're from. There's some more interesting statistics. Ani, why don't you go read the next couple ones of them?
Yeah, so from what we see from these reports, like COVID pandemic is had a major impact on the number of international students coming to the United States. And for example, as to the students on OPT, optional practical training, both on pre and post completion OPT, in 2019, there were like more than 140,000 students doing that. And in 2021, 105. So it's like the difference between 2019 and 2021 is like 35,000 students less doing OPT.
Yeah, getting more training. Yeah. Wow.
Yes, yes. So it's, I mean, it's a lot.
You know, when we
It's a
look
lot.
at the unemployment rate too, we have all these jobs that are not being filled, and people needing jobs. A lot of these jobs were filled by student visa holders who get their 1 year practical training after they graduate and stuff. So it's really important. These are educated people who, so these are like bachelor's degree jobs and higher that are not getting filled. And then it causes problems down the line because then these people won't do the green card for work process. They won't do the work visa H-1B process. So our growth rate, employment wise, and numbers are going to get really shot on this. I mean, just looking at China, for example, China sent just between 2021 and 2020, 33,000 less students, but India, on their hand, sent 25,000 more. So those dynamics are changing, less from China, more from India. And so what, you know, the workplace is being affected by this. Now, interesting, California, pretty much the biggest state, hosted 208,000 international students from all categories. This is the largest percentage of international students in all the states. But in 2013, they were doing 300,000, so a 90,000 decrease for in 2 years. How many people are
Yeah.
doing it? And so, you know, California has I'm from California. I'm in California. There's every door has a hiring sign right now. It gets really affected. 90,000 people with degrees not going to be able to, you know, fill up positions. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah. So it's a good time for, if, for example, someone considers going to study in the United States, it's a perfect time.
One of the things we've seen in investing is when everyone is like shying away from something, there's some common sense that says don't do it because everyone else is not doing it. But sometimes it's because they're not paying attention. Or it's like right now, the birth rate in the United States is at a record low, which is a bad thing. So what Anya and I have done is, and I'm in the process, we're just having more kids. And so sometimes, you know, when it becomes scarcity, they have more value because there's less of them. So if there's less students here, if you're one of the students who comes and enrolls in the United States, you're in a better position. The schools will want you to come because they're making less money. So they're going to really want you to come more and do all they can to put out the red carpet. And then when you are going for OPT, there'll be less competitors in that sense too. So it's a great time to come and study in the United States. One interesting number is the number of schools that could do student visa enrollment from have gone down too. Right now, it's 8,000 schools. You know, in 2019, there was 8,700 schools. So a 700 school decrease in 2 years that are allowed to give student visas. There has been a crackdown because some schools have been abusing it. Some schools probably wasn't worth it to maintain this program because not enough students were coming, so it wasn't worth the cost of it. So it's an interesting, really, these are significant enough changes. We'll see what happens now that COVID is done, but there's significant enough changes in the dynamics of the student visa program. And some major shifts in college budgets happening too because of it.
Yeah. So another thing that we have to consider why it's perfect time right now, you know, to go study, because there is still this interview waiver, embassy interview waiver policy that the US issued, I don't remember, like 6 months ago or something like that, saying that some people will qualify for interview waivers. For example, as far as I recall, if they were issued some other kinds of previously visa or something like that, you know, so a lot of people will qualify for that, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember there were like some also some group of for those who are enrolled in like ESTA and traveled on this ESTA, they will qualify to. I mean, we did this previous video. If you look in our YouTube channel, there will be video on that, specifically on this for those who qualify for the interview waivers. So yeah, so maybe you just need to, you know, find a school, work with the school, have everything done, and send your paperwork out, and just not even go to the embassy to get your visa. They will just stamp, like do the Dropbox or something like that.
And schools might have grants or special programs so we pay less. So it's a great time to do that. Now, what's really interesting too, another statistics that they put out are the top 5 majors that people are here come here study. Number 1 is business administration and management. It seems like US is a hub for that kind of education now. 2, computer science. 3, second language learning, ESL courses, learning English. 4, computer information sciences, general, kind of overlaps with the second one, but they have it separated. And number 5, electrical and electronics engineering. You can imagine a lot of people from India come to study that. It's a big topic for Indian students, but not just them. A lot of Chinese students too. A lot of foreign students like these hard sciences. So it's really cool thing that exists there. Now, you know, when we talk about student visa holders, usually thinking about, you know, bachelor's degrees, PhDs, masters, but there's a lot of people who come here for K through 12, kindergarten, you know, high school. And now these people have to go to private school, so it's an expensive effort. But China sent 38% of all the K through 12 students in 2021, which is really, in my opinion, cool because these young people are coming to the United States, learning the culture here, learning the language, and then when they go back to their home country, they're bringing a piece of America and our beliefs and our culture there, and it has an effect on that society, and because there's a big difference in certain things, and it shows a different perspective that they grew up in, they can share with other people there. So I love that they are coming and doing that. South Korea is number 2, Mexico, then Vietnam and Canada are the top 5 K through 12 students coming into the United States. But Anya, could you go over the top 5 countries of citizenship in general who are sending people to the United States for study?
Yeah, I don't know where is it.
Oh, no problem. I'll highlight in bold right here on the list. But essentially, no problem. It's China's number 1 with 300, almost 350,000 in 2021. So China is the biggest user of the student visa program. There have been some controversy in that what if these people are coming here to take certain information? What are they here to sow certain seeds of discontent or something like that? Which honestly is possible. I mean, there's some hostilities between the two countries, but we deal with Chinese student visa holders all the time. They get married, they have jobs. They really just come to bear life for themselves. A lot of them have more individualist mindset. They want to come and develop a company and do some big stuff, and they love it here. So it can look at China sending people here, 350,000 people. There might be a few bad eggs in there, but for the vast majority, they're really just coming here to study, do something different, and expand themselves. Is a big thing. So the second being India, 232,000. Republic of Korea, South Korea, almost 60, and then Canada and Brazil. Interesting, Canadians send so many of their families here. In Brazil, I would kind of expect that. But and then the last one is the top 5 schools. You have that part of the top schools that are.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have that.
So yeah, it's interesting. Go over the list. It's interesting.
So number 1 is Northeastern University, with almost 20,000 students enrolled. Then New York University, a bit less, almost 20,000, but a bit less than Northeastern. Columbia University in the city of New York, also a bit, almost 19,000. University of Southern California, 17 and a half. And University of Illinois, 14,000 international student population. So it's a huge number.
To top 3 are around New York area. That's so much money they're bringing and supporting the economies there. So they're a big winner in the student visa game with bringing these foreign students. And USC, where close to where I am, has a lot of students. Further down the list, UCLA is there as well, and Illinois. So these are major schools. And with these kind of numbers, it's a major part of their budget. So by the numbers of student visa holders coming down, these schools are probably really freaking out kind of, because that's millions of dollars in less revenue coming in for them. And dorms get left empty because these foreign students usually don't have parents here that could stay with them. So they have to go dormitories. So it has a big effect on these budgets. And these are major research institutions, Columbia, New York University, USC. It really affects the dynamics of higher education in the United States because these schools have gotten so accustomed to foreign students. So it's interesting to see what happens, but I thought it was really fun to share those numbers, to give you a perspective of what the student visa program looks like.
Yeah, and I think that the numbers will be increasing significantly, even in this next couple years.
Yeah.
And they will be so much more, even how it was before the pandemic. I'm confident it's gonna happen.
Yeah, with the price of inflation going up, it's in a certain sense it's harder for students to come. But frankly, a lot of the students who do come here to study come from well-off families because they have to pay foreign student tuition, so it's usually more expensive even if they go to public school here. But so they're going to probably be able to continue coming here, and I think it's a win for America to bring the top talents and have them study here. If they stay, it's better. And if they go back home, at least they take a piece of America that's part of them now and can share that with their home country. Because I love the culture here, and I think it's something that's worth sharing with the world.
Yeah, and for example, if you find yourself in this situation when you're already in the United States and you decided to study, do a change of status to F1 student visa, if you need help with that, please reach out to us. We handle these kind of cases. We're not really involved when someone goes through the embassy, because for the most part, people are doing it themselves. Or with the help of school or some other third parties. But if you're here in the United States and you want to change your status, please reach out and we will be happy to assist you.
I'm glad you mentioned that. One is I wish people would hire a lawyer for that step when they're filling out the initial visa process for a student visa, because they make mistakes there that 5-10 years down the line become problematic. We could catch that beforehand. But we did a whole video series in February breaking down A to Z of changing status or applying for a student visa. Check it out on the YouTube channel, JK Law. We have a bunch of clips of it too. Really breaking down everything you need to do for the student visa process to help you out. And if you want to schedule a consultation with me, email me at info@jqqlaw.com. We can talk about it. Or if you want to reach out with Anya, ANNA@jklaw.com, Anna@jqqlaw.com. Reach out to us. We have to schedule a consultation video. We always do by video. We want to see you. So there's some people running scams saying they're us. They'll do it by phone. It's always by video. We want to connect with you as a person to know that you're here. And what differentiates is that you're going to talk to the lawyer. You're always going to talk to the lawyer. Your emails are not going to be responded to by an assistant or a paralegal. You have the attorney time there because we care about you as an individual, and that's how we run our operation. That's part of our mission. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Anya, for coming on again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, John. And we will leave it as like PS here because at the beginning of the video, every time you ask me how am I doing, and most of the times I forget to ask you how you are doing. So we're gonna do it at the end. So how's everything?
Good. I mean, the whole family's sick. Somehow I've been saved. I haven't gotten sick yet. I had a little sore throat, but it didn't get too bad. But I'm so energized by all the stuff we're doing at the firm and the growth and stuff. I think that joy is like powering me through all this kind of stuff. And it's a lot of interesting happen. And really, the more, because we're growing the firm, the more I see what we're doing and what other people do with that old school business model for immigration law firms was. I'm just so excited we can offer this level of service to people. Obviously, it comes at a cost for us because it's more expensive having lawyers involved into every step of the case and responding, how quick we respond. It's just not done in any law areas. But I think we really are changing the game, and your help has been so pivotal. And just being able to talk with you and having someone who shares the importance of helping people with concierge service along the immigration process is so important because it's so stressful for people. We have clients right now who don't even need to worry, but they're really worried because it's really important to them. Some of them are from Eastern Europe. If things don't go well, they'll go back to really bad situations. And so we know the case is going to probably go. You can't guarantee stuff because you're dealing with the government, but it's a strong likelihood everything's going to work. But just being there with them and be patient with them and saying, listen, I'm here for you. I understand how stressed out you are. We're going to get through it. That's really an important part of what we do, and it brings me joy. And so happy to have you on board who shares that kind of that vision and mentality and appreciation for what our clients are going through. And so I just love it. I'm so excited to talk about it nonstop as we do every day. All the different things we do. So catch us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. I'm sorry, that's my other company, JQK Law Firm. You can catch our videos and clips, and check us out on TikTok too. A lot of different stuff there. Immigration Lawyer John's a TikTok name.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you everyone for watching. And we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, and hopefully I didn't talk too fast. We had a YouTube comment that says I talk 1,000 words a minute, and I just get excited and I run with it. I always tell them the consultation, feel free to tell me to slow down. Unfortunately, you can't tell me here, but in consultations, I slow it down. So don't worry, we won't be.
I got used to it, John. I think I got used to you talking so fast that I don't. It doesn't trigger me anymore.
Perfect. Thank you, audience, so much. God bless everybody. Be safe.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching this educational program. To get the latest videos, click the subscribe button and the notification bell icon. Also, help us help the immigrant community by liking this video and sharing it with your family and friends. You can also find us on other social media sites like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Twitter, where you find the latest updates on immigration news, policy changes, and tips. Be safe and God bless. See you soon.